Yo, what's going on, guys? Hope you're all doing well today. Today's video is just going to be carrying on one of my previous videos of the top 3 best baseline builds. I honestly didn't expect that video to do as well as it did. I realized it was a pretty vague thing, so I just decided to do another video going over all my mods and everything, just to give a bit more explanation behind everything, and obviously just clear up some of the things I didn't talk about. So I obviously understand for a new player, me just coming in and telling you 3 exotics and not really giving anything else to run is a bit confusing, so hopefully this just helps out a little bit. I'd just like to thank everybody for 30 subscribers. I know it seems like such a minuscule amount, but it just really means a lot to me. It shows that at least I'm helping a couple people, you know? And with that all out of the way, let's just get right into it. On my hunter here, I said Frosties were the best for baseline, and they are. So I'm just going to be showcasing the build I run on my Frosties. At the moment, this is the only hunter build I actually run. I haven't sorted out any of my loadouts or builds on my hunter other than Frosties. So this is my main build. This is what I use in raids. This is what I use in dungeons. So I would say it is a good showcase of something that is very viable in the game. This is my build right here. If you guys just want to stop off and take some screenshots so you can just put it together without having to go through the bulk of the video. But if you'd like further explanation, I am going to go into it later on. Subclass wise, as I said in the video, this doesn't require any subclass. You can go with any subclass you prefer. Stats wise, it's not too strict on Frosties, at least. I try and go for 100 resil. High recovery, it doesn't have to be 100. I just managed to get 100 from everything put together. I would say 60 and above is a really good baseline. Anything less than 60, I would try and get that up just a little bit. This one wise, I use a lot of grenades in all my builds, so 100 is amazing for me. But then again, that is up to preference. Intellect and strength, they're not too strict. I've just got them on a baseline 40, which is pretty good. Mobility 20. I didn't spec into that too much on PvE, at least for this build, because it's not too strict. You don't need any stat requirement to run this exotic, unlike other exotics which are tied to like smoke bombs, dodges, etc. So then again, you can be pretty free with what you can afford, at least stat wise. So on the helmet, I usually always run a heavy ammo finder and a heavy ammo scout. You don't have to run scout if you're running a lot of activities solo. I personally run quite a lot of raids, so it usually helps me out there. You can swap off the scout for something like a special ammo finder or another siphon mod if that's what you prefer. Then moving along, I do use a void siphon. I do use this build quite a lot on void, at least currently I do. That's why I have a void siphon on, to go well with my funnel web, but you obviously can swap this off for whatever weapon you're using. Moving on to the gauntlets now. Fastball is a no-brainer, I always have it on. Then moving on, I have firepower. This obviously can be swapped out for preference and what subclass you're using. Obviously, if I was on solar, I wouldn't be using it because I run healing nades, but on void at least, with your grenade weakening everything, this is amazing because you'll be creating orbs like crazy. Then in addition to that one, I have bolstering detonation, grants class ability energy when you cause damage with a grenade. So all this stuff sort of just ties in together neatly. Obviously, you can experiment with your gauntlets a lot depending on your subclass and what you're running. Moving on to your chest piece. I personally just run a font of endurance. This just really increases your survivability. It is just pretty stock standard, just a flat buff to your resilience, and is a great way to spend your armor charge, especially since you're going to be creating a bunch of orbs with the siphon and the firepower mod. Beside that one, I have a concussive dampener, but then again, you obviously can swap that out depending on what activity you are running. If you're running, say, a nightfall with a lot of snipers, you can obviously swap that out for a sniper damage resistance, but then again, that is really just dependent on what activity you are running. Moving down to the Frosties, I have a better already mod. This is probably one of the better leg armor mods. I run it on every leg armor piece I have, no matter what. So since you'll be creating a bunch of orbs with everything, you'll pretty much just be getting a bunch of health back since you're going to be running over them. And the health you get back is actually pretty decent. It's not like a lot of other things where it's a minuscule amount where you don't even notice, but this is actually a pretty decent chunk of health. Moving across, I have a solar weapon surge. This is just from me raiding around. I use solar rockets in the raid, so obviously it just helps me out there. But then again, swap it to whatever piece you're using. If you've got a hothead, which is arc, swap to that. Just really dependent. That is not necessary by any means. Going across one more, I have innovation. This just reduces your grenade cooldown each time you pick up an orb. I run this one on pretty much all my classes as well, like especially solar for the healing nade, having that uptime. Same on void, the weakening nades, they are very useful all around. But then again, if that doesn't suit you, you can obviously swap around. They have a bunch of other amazing leg armor mods, but the one thing I'd definitely keep is the better already mod. Moving down to the cloak, I run 2 disruption mods. This just reduces all ability cooldowns when using your class ability near targets. These are great all round for Frosties since you will be spamming your class ability. Then after slotting all those mods, you will have some spare spaces, so then you can obviously slot in your stat boosting mods to sort of get up to the stats that you feel comfortable with. Keep in mind what I did recommend earlier. So putting it all together, you have a build that will create orbs easily. When you pick up those orbs, you will get your abilities back, and when you dodge, you will get more ability energy. Paired with the intrinsic perk of Frosties, where sprinting gives you energy and dodging speeds up sprint. So you can obviously see it all really works together. As of recording this video, I just realized that Harmonic Siphon is a helmet siphon mod that swaps with your subclass, so you don't really need to go swapping over to like Void Arc and Solar Siphon each time you swap subclass, because Harmonic Siphon automatically does it for you. So just make sure you put that on your helmets instead of the other ones. It's not a big deal if you miss it. It would just help you out a lot. Moving on to my Titan now. Heart of Inmost Light was what I suggested. It is the most powerful Titan exotic at the moment, even post nerf. So this is what I run on my Titan if you'd like to just pause again and screenshot as you'd like. Like Frosties, this build is not bound to one subclass, so you can swap around. I personally use it on Void the most. Stat wise on my Titan, they're not amazing, but 100 resilience is definitely the go. 60 or above recov again. Discipline as probably as high as you can get it. I got it to about 70, but any higher is by all means amazing. Intellect I didn't really care too much about on my Titan at least. I built a little bit more into my strength just because I utilized my melee ability a bit more on Titan than I would on my Hunter. Mobility again, I don't really fuss about it. Whatever it lands on is whatever I get. So starting off on my helmet, I run in Ashes to Assets, so gain bonus super energy on grenade kills. This is not necessary, you can run a heavy ammo scout, like on my Hunter. For my Siphon, Harmonic Siphon is the go, same with a heavy ammo finder. On the gauntlets, I have a fastball like always, a firepower, and a bolstering detonation mod. Most of these mods will carry along throughout all my characters, as these are pretty baseline mods. Nothing too serious, nothing too crazy, but will get the job done. On the chest piece, I run a Font of Endurance and a Concussive Dampener. On the boots, I run 2 innovation mods and a Better Already mod. You can obviously swap off one of these innovation mods for a Surge to whatever you please. On the class item, I have 1 Reaper mod and 1 Distribution mod. You obviously can use this Reaper mod on the Hunter. By all means, swap it out. I personally just run it on my Titan a lot more, since I would say I use my Barricade a lot more than I would use my Dodge. So pretty much all together, what this build does, it allows you to spam your grenade, your class ability, and your melees, creating a bunch of orbs, and then when you pick up those orbs, you gain health and then your grenade energy back. And if you're using Void like me, you gain Overshield and Devour, which is another plus all round. Moving on to my Warlock now, we have Eye of Another World. This, similar to Hoyle and Frosties, gives you baseline ability regen, so it is just amazing all round. Stat-wise on a Warlock, I'd say 100 resilience is definitely what you're looking for. If you haven't got 100 resilience, it's not the end of the world since Warlocks do have a Rift ability, but definitely try and get that as high as you possibly can. Down to recov, I usually try and aim for 70 or above on a Warlock, probably the same for the Discipline too. Intellect, Strength, and Mobility, again, not the end of the world. Whatever I end up with is whatever I'm happy with. So the mods are very similar to my past 2 builds, with a Harmonic Siphon on the helmet, and I have 2 Ashes to Assets, but of course you can swap that out for a Heavy Ammo Finder, Heavy Ammo Scout, just depends on your activity and your preference. On the gauntlets, fastball like always, then I have a Bolstering Detonation and a Firepower mod, Font of Endurance and a Concussive Dampener on the chest piece. Then on the boots, I have 1 Better Already and 2 innovation mods. For the class item, it is a bit different. I have 1 Time Dilation mod, 1 Reaper mod, and 1 Bomber mod. Now the reason I have a Time Dilation mod on my class item for my Warlock and not my other 2 subclasses is that I usually don't run 100 resilience on my Warlock. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. And especially since I'm not running that 100 resil, having that extra uptime of my armor charge with the Font of Endurance definitely helps me out in the long run. However, it is not necessary if you are running 100 resilience already, so you can swap that out for any of my other mods mentioned, like Distribution. Now this Eye of Another World build is very effective with stasis, especially with the stasis turret, since you do have all those firepower mods and the Ashes to Asset mods, so you will be creating a bunch of orbs, gaining a bunch of super energy, and the utility of the turrets is very beneficial, especially in a lot of endgame content. However, similar to the last video, I did mention that currently Starfire Protocol is the best Warlock exotic, so if you do have a Starfire, I would highly recommend using that over the Eye of Another World. Starfire Protocol is more than likely going to get a nerf soon, so I would take advantage of it while you can, and then after it gets a nerf, by all means come back to this build, put it together, and then you'll be set with an amazing baseline build that you can run any activity with. So if you're interested in making any of these builds, however you don't have the exotics, we do currently have Legend and Master Lost Sectors within the game, so all you have to do is wait until the day of the piece is up, then just run that Lost Sector a couple times, and hopefully you should get it. It just really does depend on RNG, but that is the best way to sort of focus your grinding. Or other than that, Xur can sell these exotics, so definitely keep an eye on him. Anyways, I hope this helps some people out. and definitely gave a bit more insight into my builds. I am planning on bringing out videos on more OP builds in the future. I have one in the works at the moment, so definitely stay tuned for that. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, guys. I really appreciate the 30 subscribers once again, and have a great day.